One in five suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Monday with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave. Hey, Marla, how are you?
You know what, Dave? I feel like that I'm some kind of way. It's Groundhog's Day.
You're back in Florida.
And I keep getting sent back to Florida. I wake up and it's like, I'm back in Florida.
Well, we're glad to see you on screen in the studio, virtually at least. Want to let everybody know that today's show, Mental Health Mondays, is brought to you by NAMI, San Fernando Valley, and Loving Beyond Reason. Marla, how are things going down there in Florida?
They're hot and sticky, but that's never, nothing is ever enough to dampen my excitement to be on Mental Health Mondays. And I have a confession.
What is it?
I'm very excited and disappointed at the same time that I cannot be in studio with today's guest, Yasmin, because I happen to follow her as well and on social media.
Wow.
So, Yasmin,
look at you. Well, as Marla said, today's guest is Yasmin Irfani. She is a Pakistani Muslim American who has personally gone through mental health challenges such as situational depression and anxiety. Through her faith support system and individual and group therapy, she has accepted that there is no shame in seeking help. And like we always say, NAMI experts, those paid, and the volunteers who make up the organization provide an environment showing unity in our community and collaboration for a common cause, and that cause is mental health. And when we come back, we're going to have a great discussion today with Yasmin Irfani.
can't wait.
Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something.
Okay. I guess Marla was having some technical difficulties on the other side of the U.S.
Yeah.
You okay there?
Can you hear me?
We hear you, yes.
Okay. All right.
All right, well, welcome Yasmin to the show. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you.
All right. Well, right off the bat, why don't you share with us what it was like growing up? Where are you from, by the way?
Ethnically, I'm Pakistani.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Irvine, California.
Okay.
But I moved around a bit. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, tell us what it was like growing up in Irvine in I guess, a Pakistani family.
Yeah, so I was born in New York, and then as a baby I came to Irvine, and I lived there up until 6th grade. And
What part of New York, by the way?
Yonkers.
I was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice. Cool. So, yeah, I was in Irvine up until 6th grade, and I have been an only child. So growing up was definitely interesting for me because most of my family and friends, there weren't really any only children.
Right.
And I also, as I had mentioned earlier, or not yet, but as I had told you offline,
yes.
I grew up as a highly sensitive girl. So it was definitely interesting. My parents went through a divorce when I was in 3rd grade, and then I moved to Pakistan, lived there for 4 years. Then I moved to New York. Then after doing a few years there, I came back to California. So it's definitely been quite a journey.
Okay, you've moved around.
Yes.
Okay, so Mark, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that this is also very fascinating to me, and this is one part of our mental health journey. Mental health and the challenges are really a unifier for all people, but we don't always deal with it. Each culture deals with it a little bit different. So I'm very interested to hear how Yasmin, being Pakistani, has been dealing with any of her personal mental health challenges, but also how her community deals. So I'm listening.
Yeah, so I feel a little anxious even just talking about it because for most of my life I've felt like I needed to stay silent and stay quiet, not be too much,
Yeah.
not be too emotional. And I'm just in the process, as everyone is, right? Like, it's a journey of unlearning beliefs that don't serve me anymore. And for most of my life, I thought that there was something wrong with me, that I needed fixing, that I'm too sensitive, because in my Pakistani culture and just in like South Asian culture in general, speaking about vulnerability and certain emotions like fear, sadness, anger, hurt, it's not very welcoming. So
Now, was it that way in your own family, or is that just a description of the culture in general?
I would say, like, I don't like to generalize too much, but that based on my experiences and so many conversations with people from my community, it does seem to be a common experience.
And so is that because it kind of disproves the reliance on your faith? It questions your reliance on your faith or the strength of your faith?
It's hard to say. That could be part of it, but there's just so many different factors that play into it. Like, there's just, for example, like, yes, some messages that I've heard are like, oh, just be more grateful, like, turn to God, like, pray more, things like that, which aren't really always helpful.
Yeah.
And then there's other factors of caring a lot about what does the community think, what will people think, just stay quiet, like, make sure the family looks good, things like that. Don't air your dirty laundry.
It's great for building faith, but it is not necessarily helpful in actually managing brain difference. And I have to repeat that. There is definitely a place for religion, and there's a place for us to connect to our faith centers and our different beliefs. But we have to remember, which again, as Yasmin speaks, I want to remind that brain difference is brain difference. And these chemical differences and these personality differences that they need to be managed sometimes with medicine, sometimes with different therapies. And so there is a place for faith, but we have to keep that in mind.
And both studies and our personal experience have all told us and informed us that most cultures of color have the same pretty much stigma associated with mental illness and vulnerability in general. So you were saying about your own story growing up.
Yeah. So, like, just the indirect and direct messages that I had received were just to be grateful and to not cry, don't be weak, things like that. And it was very hurtful, you know, like, that inner child in me still sometimes wishes that there was a little bit more of
Nurturing.
Nurturing and just holding space and listening rather than giving advice and saying that, oh, you shouldn't feel this way, or even sometimes being laughed at. And now I feel like it's my job as an adult to unlearn and relearn what actually is the truth, which is that just to be part of being human means having these difficult emotions, and mental health affects everyone. So now I'm 27 years old, and it's taken me so long to get to this point of self-acceptance so that I can not just say these things, but actually model that for the younger people in my community.
Absolutely.
So like, going back to when I was growing up, even like living in Pakistan for 4 years was a complete eye-opener. And like, being surrounded by people who are not really valuing therapy and talking openly about emotions, it did really make me question myself and be really hard on myself. And it wasn't until I went to college at UC Santa Barbara, and I was a psychology major, and I just felt like I needed fixing. So I started going to the free therapy. I got as much therapy as I could. I joined a bunch of group therapy sessions.
Now, right there, if I can stop you, that's a very interesting point that you brought up. Now, did you decide to go into psychology specifically because you wanted answers to some of the things that you were dealing with?
Yeah, I went into psychology because I knew that I didn't know what I was doing with my life, but I wanted to help people. So I thought that would take me there.
Awesome. Well, man, this story is already amazing. We're going to have a good time today talking with Yasmin. Marley, looks like you're about to say something.
We'll be right back.
And we'll be right back.
When Dave and Marla
Psycho, nutcase, schizo. You may not realize it, but these terms, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental illness, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. When the discussion on mental illness focuses on fear instead of hope, people struggling with these conditions get caught up in the judgment and shame attached to them. They become lost in all the talk and harmful words, and they may not get the support they need. But we can help by directing our loved ones to places like NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, for life-saving resources. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join me, pledge to be stigma-free.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
Dissociative disorders are characterized by an involuntary escape from reality, more specifically, a disconnection between thoughts, identity, consciousness, and memory. Almost half of adults in the United States experience at least one depersonalization/derealization episode in their lives, with only 2% meeting the full criteria for chronic episodes, with women being more likely than men to be diagnosed.
Symptoms and signs of dissociative disorders include significant memory loss of specific times, people, and events. 2, out-of-body experiences, such as feeling as though you're watching a movie of yourself. Mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide. And a sense of detachment from your emotions or emotional numbness. And 5, and last, a lack of a sense of self-identity.
There are 3 types of dissociative disorders defined in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, otherwise known as the DSM. Number 1, dissociative amnesia. 2, depersonalization. 3, dissociative identity, formerly known as multiple personality disorder.
If you or someone that you know have or are currently experiencing any of these symptoms, as we always say, please contact a mental health professional immediately, and please remember that you're not alone. This message is brought to you by NAMI San Fernando Valley and Loving Beyond Reason.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
All right, so you were saying that you started to study psychology. Did you know right away when you went to college that you wanted to study psychology?
No, I had no clue what I was doing. I was an undeclared major with so much anxiety, so much pressure, like feeling the pressure of like, what is my future going to be? And
college in general.
Yeah,
it's pretty stressful.
So like my family and relatives would advise me to choose a practical major, one that would give me financial stability and all of that. But I knew that no matter what I did, I wanted to help people, even though I was so confused. So I thought, okay, well, psychology is related to, like, I'll go into the direction of helping people in some way. And I at first wanted to be a therapist, but then I realized that for my own sensitive, empathic nature, that might get a little bit too much.
Might take on too much of a weight of other people's burdens. Yeah.
Yes, Yasmin, I have a question for you, because you're bringing up things that a lot of people experience, and I've heard over and over again, even for our own son, he fractured. His fracture was evident when he went through drug addiction and put himself in college, and it was in his 3rd year that all hell broke loose for him mentally. So my question is, was there a particular point that you stressed, or that you actually thought, for your own mental wellness,
a fracturing moment?
Did you have a fracturing moment, and did you seek a diagnosis, or you just went through basic therapies to just bring balance back?
Yeah, so I think that there's been a lot of different fractured moments, I guess, or like hitting rock bottom in my life, because I feel things so deeply. So I can't think of a single point in this moment in time, but I just remember that there's been times when I've just been crying and thinking, like, why am I so sensitive? Why am I so emotional? And knowing that, okay, well, I need help. I need to fix myself. I need to just, so the motivation was kind of wrong, because it's like, I don't need to fix myself, but I just thought that
You just needed some help.
yeah, I
to
needed,
understand
Wrong either.
things. Yeah.
I'd like to hear you say that the motivation, because there is no wrong. Whatever the road is that gets us to first understand who we are and then move forward to share and help others is the right road, in my opinion.
And again, on this show, we don't really focus on specific diagnoses because for us, diagnosis is really just about seeking the correct therapy that goes along with your set of characteristics that you have to deal with. And so I guess Marla was asking, did you get a specific diagnosis, or did you just go to therapies that would help you, as in going to therapy where you talk through your issues and to bring balance? Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was in college, I just went to talk therapy and group therapy. I haven't ever taken medication for that or received an actual diagnosis. But last year in 2019, when I was speaking with my therapist, she said that I was probably going through situational depression and anxiety.
Got it.
Okay, and that is a popular generalization now that I believe therapists are actually dealing with, which pretty much is, like I said, it's not really important about what is causing you to have an issue, but there's situations that you may be going through. Let's talk it through and let's get you some help and some balance.
I think everybody in the country right now is in situational depression. It happens. It's stress related.
Well,
So yeah, I want to take you back to college, because I know that you stated, and I know I've watched you, and your purpose is true when it comes to your broadcasting and helping other people with the things that you're bringing forward. But when you went to school, and this became a driver, how did you segue that to finding NAMI?
Right. So I guess through my own 4 years of college and feeling a little bit more like distanced from family, living on my own and getting that help, I even after college, I took some gap years and I worked as a behavior therapist, and I just kept exploring the helping profession. And then it was once I went to grad school at CSUN, I did my master's in college counseling and student services, and especially there to hear so many students share about their own struggles with mental health, suicidal ideation, thoughts of self-harm. So the college students, in addition to the Muslim high school students I was working with as a youth group coordinator at my Islamic center, all those individuals together just lit a fire under me, which made me want to dedicate my life to mental health awareness and to speak up, even if my legs are shaking, even if I'm so scared of this being recorded forever and people judging me. There's just too many people that I care about who have shared so vulnerably with me for me to just sit back and stay silent.
Well, like I always say, there's no such thing as having courage if you haven't experienced fear. So kudos to you to actually overcoming your fears and actually just be going a step further, and the ultimate step of helping others with your experience.
And that's a good time for me to remind everybody, as we talk to all of the different individuals that are going to come through Mental Health Mondays, it's 1 in 5 people, everyone. That means that it's a fraction of a degree of separation. Mental health is not everybody else's problem, it's our problem. And that's what I'm saying. So we need to, that community, we keep experiencing through conversations Yasmin is also sharing, it's prevalent.
And on that note, we'll be right back. All right, it's time for the poll question break. Marla, do you want to read last week's poll question?
Well, Dave, there's a lot of things I'd want to do if everything around me was working properly. That would be amazing.
But while you get it working, I'll jump in with last week's poll question, which was, what is the number of U.S. adults living with PTSD? Now, Yasmin, your options were 5 million, 12 million, or 18 million people living with PTSD. Marla, put your hand down. I'm not going to recognize you. You weren't ready. You didn't have enough gum for the whole class, so you just have to sit back for a minute. Yasmin, what do you think the answer is? Either 5 million, 12 million, or 18 million people living, adults living in the U.S. with PTSD?
I would like to hope that it's 5 million.
That would be a good hope, Yasmin. But what did you say, Marla?
I like the way she put that. I would like to hope that it's only 5 million.
Unfortunately, the answer is 12 million. Marla, go ahead. What's the new poll question for next week?
The poll question for next week is, what is the number of U.S. adults? Oh, you just asked that because that's not right.
Yep.
It's estimated that 1.6% of the adult U.S. population has BPD, or borderline personality disorder, but that number may be as high as 5.9. What percentage of all people in the U.S. diagnosed with BPD are women? A, 25%, B, 50%, or C, 75%?
All right, what we want you to do is anywhere you see our social media, take the poll question, answer the poll question. It's fun, it's informative, and you will learn something. And like Marla said, please vote. We'll be right back.
This is my favorite thing, vote.
Okay. All righty, Marla, you know what? We just want to give you an acknowledgement and say that you're a trooper. It's pretty late there in Florida, but there you are on screen, on camera, looking beautiful as ever. We thank you for making time for us as well.
Well, thank you. I'm sharing my time and my legs with every mosquito in the area. It's amazing.
Well, don't give them all your legs. You got to come home.
Well, I want to talk about, give me just a couple of minutes to talk directly with Yasmin. Yasmin, I want to congratulate you, number one, and tell you how much I appreciate your series. And when you're bringing these programs to NAMI, I try to catch them. I did get a chance to go back and review the series with Kevin Hines. You're bringing people forward, and if your legs are shaking, we can't tell. And your bravery is paying off. People are listening to you. I'm listening to you. And I just have to say thank you, because it's going to take all of our voices. It's going to take all of our love. And so I just wanted to give you just a quick minute to let you know that I see you. I recognize and honor your strength, and really respect and encourage and hope that you continue to let your voice, the volume of your voice, get louder and louder.
Thank you.
I
really
absolutely
appreciate that. And I think, like, as you're talking, it makes me realize that even if I am not sounding super articulate or if I'm not perfect, I still need to speak up, because life is too short, you know? It's like, you never know. And I don't want to, like, at the end of my life, realize that I was just living in fear of what other people thought, rather than modeling by example. And I still struggle. I'm still really hard on myself, but like little affirmations like that really do mean a lot.
Okay, well, then, and I really do mean that. So, at what do you have? Do you have a wish list? Because you also, can you please tell everybody what is the tag where they can find the broadcast that you bring through NAMI?
Yeah, so if everyone follows NAMI San Fernando Valley on Instagram, that's where we have all of our events. We did a whole Instagram live series with different, it was called Community Conversations. Now,
is that over?
Right now, it's kind of on a pause because we're really busy with mental health first aid, which if anybody is interested, it's a 6-hour course which teaches just community members a 5-step action plan on how to support individuals in the community with mental health challenges. There's one version for adults and one for those adults who work with youth. So we're really focusing our efforts on mental health first aid right now. And
that's awesome.
And we also trained 354 individuals in suicide prevention for QPR, which is just like CPR. And
what does the Q stand for?
It's question, persuade, refer.
Okay, awesome. I love that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're up to right now. And we also have our Ending the Silence presentations for students. It's just 1 hour long, and it kind of normalizes the different challenges that people are going through right now, to decrease the stigma.
Now, do all these programs come under your leadership, under your management for the youth programs director?
Yes. So that's so as youth programs director, I do the outreach, coordinating, and sometimes I also teach the different courses, QPR, Ending the Silence, and Mental Health First Aid.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. And I think you were going to tell us right before you were starting to tell us before we went to the last break, how you actually came to understand and know about NAMI.
Yeah, so while I was at UCSB, I was part of this club called Active Minds, which raises awareness about mental health and decreases stigma. So when I was there was a NAMI walk, and I attended that. And then
Now, was the NAMI in Santa Barbara? Or Irvine, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was the NAMI walk that I attended was in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
So I just love that there's NAMIs everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like everywhere you go, there's a NAMI.
Many chapters in LA, which is beautiful.
Yes. So when I graduated from my master's, there was these 7 months where I'm just soul searching again, super confused, anxiety. That's when like the situational anxiety and depression had come about. And then all of a sudden, like this door opened. I saw this position for youth programs director at NAMI San Fernando Valley. And I thought, oh yeah, like I'm not gonna get that. Like I'm not good enough and all of that. And then I applied and I got it. And it's just
Because you're perfect for it.
yeah, it's just like God opened a door for
Indeed.
me and everything just clicked. And all my struggles and challenges, it felt like it was for a reason, so that I could bring this, like I could be part of the piece of bringing this education to families and people who need it. So I feel very privileged.
That is awesome. Now, like Marla was saying, what is it that we as the community can do to help you with what you're doing over at NAMI San Fernando Valley?
You as the community can sign up for mental health first aid. I know it's a time commitment of 6 hours through Zoom and 2 hours of homework before that, but it's so important. We're trying to train 300 people before November 30th. And so if you're interested, please email me at yasmin.irfani@NAMI-SFV.org. And you could also
Donate.
Yes, donate. And you could also follow our Instagram to just stay in the loop with all of our events, so that together we could just encourage help seeking and being vulnerable instead of shaming and silencing.
That is so amazing. Your story is wonderful. Your testimony is wonderful. The work that you do with NAMI San Fernando Valley and apparently the youth groups through your community center. Amazing. You're an amazing person. We appreciate you taking the time out to spend some time with us today. And we'll continue this conversation when we come right back.
Bad.
What are you doing?
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless. It's pointless.
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
And that quick, we were at the end of the show. Marla, it looks like you're about to say something.
Well, I was going to say that I'm going to rebuke Tony, who keeps muting me. I will not be silent. Yasmin said I speak up, and I'm breaking the silence. I just need to remind everybody that NAMI is a volunteer. It has one of the largest reach that we have, but it is a volunteer organization. And it doesn't mean that because people are volunteering that there aren't funds needed to be able to run programs just like the one that Yasmin is running with the youth and others who've come on who are NAMI volunteers who run different programs and departments. So you must please remember to donate. NAMI San Fernando Valley or NAMI-SFV.org, so we can continue to grow our work and we can continue to move forward. You know, I always say that a few people, instead of having a few people do a lot, it's always more powerful and more impactful when we can have a whole lot of people doing little.
Yasmin.
So
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marlon. Yasmin, what's your final message for us today?
No pressure. My final message for this moment is that every single human being on this earth is touched by mental health challenges in some way or another. And anyone who says they aren't is probably in some denial and could use some support and therapy. And it's time for us to stop shaming and judging individuals who are open about their struggles and meet them with love and empathy instead.
That is amazing.
Being a part of our community, I'm always watching, and I'll see you when I return to LA.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you guys for actually joining the show today. Our guest has been Yasmin Irfani. She is the Director of Youth Programs for NAMI San Fernando Valley, where she does amazing work like everyone else over there at NAMI San Fernando Valley and all the NAMI chapters. And we encourage you to join. Take as many of the programs, the classes that you can, become educated. And whether or not you deal personally with mental health issues, you definitely know someone who does, whether or not they've admitted it or not. And we will see you next week. Enjoy the week. Marla, travel safely.
See you next week.
See ya.